Okay, so we are home. Miss Rachel's on in the background. The baby is hopping. I wanted to do a quick Q&A recording on some questions that I got that were submitted. Don't mind me, it was soccer Saturday and we're doing what we need to do with the family and making some content. So let's see this question. What do I do about my husband's truck? It's insured in only his name, but I can't find him and I don't know what to do about it. In a divorce, the court might not be able to deal with it unless we find him. So you probably should try to find a way to find him. Or if it still has a loan, I don't know, you got a couple of things that you need to do, but probably talk to an attorney. Probably get your divorce. If you get him served at a minimum, you don't like it. Thank you. Get him served at a minimum, and then we can deal with it. And you could get a court order to help you get the title released. So we got to find him to at least serve him. Abandoned after 3 months of marriage and pregnant. We were married in January in Nevada. He forced me to uproot my life and move to Florida. I quit my job, left my home of 30 years, and we're here trying to get a grasp on the move and settlement on top of being pregnant now 10 weeks. We've been fighting about not spending time as a couple to the point that he left and he refuses to come back. It sounds to me like you need your divorce. It sounds to me like you need to make this happen for yourself as soon as possible. You can file while you are expecting, and because the process takes a bit of time, filing now probably serves a good purpose. And then you can be granted your divorce so long as we have the name of the child and the age of the child, because the court does require that we address and make sure that we secure child support and time sharing so that really any couple isn't left hanging with that. Essentially, he'll be on the hook financially. Okay. Fighting over the white blanket upstairs. Okay. How can I get visitation rights for my son in Florida if it is denied by his mother? You file a paternity case or a divorce, and Florida's presumption is 50-50 time sharing. So get your time. The only thing stopping you is the fact that you didn't file a case. So you can blame her all day long, but you have a remedy. Your remedy is going to court. Family court trial paperwork deadlines. This question's a little vague, but once the case is filed, if you generate a summons, you have to have that summons served in 120 days. Once the summons is served, the recipient has to file an answer within 20 days. From that same date of service, both parties must do mandatory disclosure and exchange it within 45 days. Those are really the deadlines. Trial deadlines, because it says there are a specific number of days before a trial in which paperwork has to be submitted. That is judge specific. The reasonable time frame is 7 to 10 days before the trial if your judge doesn't have a specific order or the trial order doesn't govern that. What are the options for enforcing court-ordered paternity tests in Florida when child support requires payment due to signing the birth certificate? You got to file a paternity case. You got to file a motion for a DNA test. And if the DNA shows it's not yours, you have to disestablish paternity. Your child support will not stop until you disestablish paternity and get a court order on that. Are children considered full-time parental care if they only sleep at the safety monitor's home? They would not be considered full-time in your care if the children are under what says this, a current care arrangement in Florida for a safety plan. You wouldn't be considered to having custody of them. not completely, and certainly not for the purpose of establishing child support or later getting retroactive child support. There's going to be a lot more nuance to this, and you need an attorney if this is your circumstance. How to respond in a family court case without legal aid. You don't need legal aid. Read the documents, read them slowly, Google the words you don't know. I would push it to a final hearing as quickly as possible. If something is unfair or untrue, don't let the case linger. Can my mother take away my phone and demand the password? I am 13 years old. I paid for my own phone, which has no service plan. My mother has taken it away from me without providing a reason, is demanding I give her the password. Every parent has a duty and obligation to make sure that they keep their child safe. Keep their child safe from online predators. Keep their children safe from accessing the wrong kind of information. And because that is a parent's duty, how devices operate in your home and with the parents is absolutely something a parent can and should and is duty bound to keep track of and make sure they know what a 13-year-old is accessing and safety precautions, and they should have your password. If you don't like that, just wait till you're 18 and you can do anything and everything you want. But until that time, your parent does get to govern what you access in their home. Okay. Can I stop child support arrears based on SSDI and financial hardship? No, not likely if it's already a court order. If it's temporary, you could go to a final hearing and get a final order and get that fixed. But if it's through the Department of Revenue and the order was already entered, you kind of lost your opportunity, or you need to seek out an attorney who can appeal it. And you've got like 15 days to start on meeting the necessary requirements. So no, you don't really have the ability to do that, but you can adjust what the ongoing payment is and just continue to make those payments. Unfortunately, it's an unfortunate reality of what happens with DOR, which is why as soon as DOR contacts you and sends you mail, you need to take action with an attorney, because you can't let that ship leave the docking station. Am I entitled to anything if I'm on the mortgage and title but not the deed? So the deed is the title, so that doesn't make sense. But if you're on the title, you're entitled to it. If the home was purchased during the marriage, you'd be entitled to it even if you're not on the deed or the mortgage. So the answer to that is likely yes, but of course I would need some more nuance on that. My daughter has given me temporary custody of my grandson. You should file a petition for custody by extended family member. That does not necessarily remove her custody, but it will gain you custody and the legal documents. You guys can do this by consent. We can get this done on the inside of a couple of weeks. Judges will sign off on it if everybody consents. I've had a few of these. They're not that complicated. It doesn't remove her custody, and she can file at any time for any reason. She doesn't need cause to close it out or stop it. So that will help her feel more comfortable about allowing this document to be signed and in existence, okay? Likelihood of father getting 50-50 of a newborn in Florida. The reality is that it's probably going to take time to get to court. The law says 50-50 is the entitlement. If he was aggressive, threatening, and harassing, I really hope you called the police and have a record of it, because even though it's not fair and it's not right, it's not fair and it's not right. That stuff matters to the courts because they just don't know how to make sense of people throwing around these kind of threats for the purpose of gaining an advantage in the custody court. So you've got to be strategic with that. So, there's no such thing as primary custody. So in this question, you say, I'm proposing primary custody with me. That's not even a thing in Florida. So I hope you don't have a lawyer. Because if your lawyer's saying we're asking for primary custody, they're straight up wrong and it can't be granted. So my advice to you would be to get creative in a settlement setting like mediation. parenting plan. Does the rotation permanently change because of a holiday agreement, or does it go back? The holiday agreement is like if you took a highlighter and laid it over the current the time sharing. So it supersedes the regular time sharing, but the regular time sharing stays the same unless you have a provision that says no 3 weekends in a row. That's the simplest way to answer that without going through all of the lengthy nuance. Am I eligible for money and property if my spouse and I get divorced? Probably, if it was acquired during the marriage. That's really the answer. This has a very long, we've been married for 19 years and family disputes, but yes, probably. Probably entitled to half of everything that is in existence, because 19 years is a long time, unless there's maybe employment and a 401k that happened before that. So, am I eligible for money and property? That question got asked twice. Can I legally change custody to live with my dad full-time in Florida? I'm 16 years old. Parents who have 50-50 custody. My mother has chosen an abusive relationship over her children's safety. Report this to your school, right? Her emotional abuse includes calling me names like unstable, irrational, and neglectful behavior, such as not providing proper meals. I don't know what that means. And this requires some nuance, but at 16, I couldn't even consult with you. So there's a lot of nuance that goes on with this, but the court can't force a child who outright refuses, and at 16, that probably can happen. Do what you can to get a vehicle, keep you and your 13-year-old brother safe, and report it to safe adults the way that you need to. You can refuse, but your father has a legal obligation to encourage the relationship. So I think you said I have a therapist who believes it's in my best interest to live full time with my father. I mean, refuse to go. Get in your car and drive back to your mom's house. Refuse to get in her car. Be honest and open with her, and do try to have these discussions directly with your mother about what's happening, because not only does she deserve to know, if she can fix it, she should. So, you got a lot going on, but please talk to some safe adults, and that's really where you need to be focusing this question. And the internet's probably not the best place. Please talk to the safe adults who are around you, who could do what they need to do to keep you safe. Changing respondent to petitioner. I'm helping a friend who has a DV charge, and he is the respondent. He wants to file for paternity and other relief. He is requesting to change to the petitioner. In a case you don't change to the petitioner, you could counter petition, but if it's a domestic violence case, it's a brand new case. So he's not changing anything. He's filing a new case entirely for paternity. So it's not that he's going to change himself to the petitioner. He will be the petitioner because he files the case. So this is why AI probably won't take my job. I'm helping a friend, and he has not seen his child in 6 months, and he wants to know what he can do. He does not want to file a case. Well, you're kind of out of luck with that. Although being on the birth certificate, you have a right to your time. Unless you go to court and enforce it, you have nothing. So, before I sign off, I just want to share with you that my cute little almost 2-year-old shared her spit out food for me. That's what she gave me when she said she doesn't like it. And Miss Rachel says goodbye.